This video is of Kamala Harris, who alongside Joe Biden will take on the role of Vice President under his administration during his term as the next US President. And we're going to look into what makes her a particularly interesting figure in US politics, how she's got to where she has, and why I suspect she might actually go on to have a future as the President of the USA. Harris was born in Oakland, California to immigrant parents. Her father, Donald Harris, was a professor at Stanford University and of Jamaican descent, and her mother, Shyamalan Gopalan, was a breast cancer researcher from Tamil Nadu in India. The role her mother had in her life was critical in her upbringing and character, as her parents divorced when she and her sister, Maya, were still young, with her mother understanding the importance of instilling strong values in them from a young age. So let's take a look at what makes Kamala Harris a unique character in US politics, and what can be learned from her about her incredible rise to becoming Vice President. First and foremost, I want to just highlight that she's clearly very intelligent. What immediately struck me about Kamala Harris when I first saw her as a prosecutor was just how sharp she was with her questioning, usually being very aggressive and direct in her approach. It actually made for some entertaining moments, not least when she questioned Brett Kavanaugh as senator, leading to Kavanaugh clearly uncomfortable when trying to dodge her line of questioning.
Yes or no?
Well, is there a person you're talking about?
I'm asking you a very direct question, yes or no?
I need to know I'm not sure I know everyone who works at that law firm.
I don't think you need to. I think you need to know who you talked with. Who'd you talk to?
This also became notable during the presidential elections as she challenged Joe Biden's candidacy with some quite heated and aggressive debates, with her questioning some of his decisions in the past and vehemently disagreeing with him on some matters that were clearly quite personal to her, not least on his views on busing to diversify schools in America, as well as healthcare. The thing that was striking in all of this was that she really understood how to formulate an argument and was strong when debating, sticking to the heart of the subject while at the same time showing a great deal of passion. It's a fine line to do this, and her intelligence shines through when she does, as she has strong arguments backed up by facts, yet at the same time shows emotional intelligence and empathy to really hit home her point. It's no secret that Kamala Harris was arguably the one to give Joe Biden the most difficulty during debate to his rise to presidency, and I also think it's the reason that Biden reacted the way he did, approaching her to act as his running mate, recognizing her strength, tenacity, and ability to debate and argue intelligently. And let's not undermine the point that, frankly speaking, she's a symbol of change. Now, I'll be honest, I couldn't care less about her ethnicity and gender. Okay, I know she's broken ground as the first female ethnic minority to hold the position in US history, and I completely understand how this is very much a breakthrough and landmark moment for US politics. Actually, I relate to this point somewhat, being an ethnic minority in the UK. However, the reason I don't place emphasis on this point is I very much try to judge an individual on the content of their character and their competency in their role. I do not ignore the importance of her appointment as an ethnic minority, especially as someone who is part black, in such a prominent role in US politics. And equally, her gender is of vital importance, because never has a woman held such a position in the history of the US. So while I live and act as someone who doesn't try to place a great deal of emphasis on this, I do recognise that for many people, especially for young girls in the US, she is very much a symbol of what the future can hope for them, and is symbolic of the change for what people can achieve in the US. It's also for this reason that I believe Biden saw her as the ideal candidate to work alongside him, because not only did he recognise her ability as a senator and in the debates, but he saw how she represented the future of American politics, a representation of diversity and progressive thinking, something I think that is in line with what he hopes to see for the future for the US, even if he has slightly more conservative views. However, I also want to state that I think that if we're to progress away from racial and gender bias, then we need to look past her ethnicity and instead recognise her qualities as an individual. And while she's spoken about being ethnically diverse and being raised and acknowledged as a black woman, she doesn't let that define who she is. Something I think is best summed up in the quote, "I am who I am. I'm good with it. You might need to figure it out, but I'm fine with it." I respect that about her and relate, not least because I've had to struggle with similar identity politics in my own life, and not least because I too identify myself as who I am, something I think is born from strong values. When you see and hear Kamala Harris speak, she usually shows a great deal of passion around the subject she speaks about. Likewise, when you hear from people who know her personally, they will often say about her how committed and strong-willed she is as a person for standing up for what she believes in. This can be identified with her having a strong value set, standing up for what she believes. I think this is best exemplified by a story that I heard from her childhood friend, who recounted that when young and at school, a boy bullied her friend and she stood up to him without any fear. The boy picked up a rock and hit her in the head, and she had to go to hospital and get stitches. The thing is, this sense of justice and seeking to protect those in need is something that Harris is actually quite prominently known for, not least in her actions to seek justice against those who commit crimes, but equally in acts such as her Back on Track initiative, whereby first-time drug trafficking defendants were given the opportunity to avoid jail time if they perform community service and set up a personal responsibility plan, or PRP, where they had set goals around employment, parenting, and receiving an education. It's reforms like this that truly stand out, as it shows conviction in her values that people should be punished for their wrongdoings, but equally gives an opportunity for them to reform their lives. And to be completely honest, I think this goes back to what we said previously about her knowing her identity. Many, especially in the media, have tried to put her into boxes and have struggled to do so. It's said that she's too tough, yet you see initiatives like Back on Track. Others might argue that she's too soft, yet her history of convictions is painted as very tough, often on people who are black, so ethnic bias doesn't come into the question either. She's black, but was raised by an Indian mother and maintains contact with her Indian family, with her maternal grandfather playing a prominent role in her life. But equally, she was raised as a black woman in a black community. Simply put, she is who she is, and that's founded on the values instilled in her. And in truth, I think that's something we should all strive for. In her case, not least because it's helped her to show her character. When it all comes down to it, Kamala Harris is just a very likeable character, which is why she's often compared to Barack Obama. And this shows in how she conducts herself, as she's well spoken, intelligent, yet lets her personality come through with an incredible smile, another quality that Obama had. Her body language is positive, and I was amazed to learn that she's only 5'3", as when she speaks she looks to be much taller. Funnily enough, she said the same of her mother, who was 5 foot, but apparently appeared to be 7 to 10 feet when she spoke, because she was so strong and powerful. And ultimately, it's here that makes me think we might be looking at someone who could go on to become the future president of the US. She's been given a platform to build on thanks to Biden, but equally, her intelligence, her charisma and charm, her symbolic role for so many people in the US, and most importantly, the values passed down from her mother, has all the makings of helping her to rise to the most powerful position in America. What's your position on Biden and Harris? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully this video gave you a little insight into what we can learn from Kamala Harris and the qualities that make her such an intriguing individual. Be sure to check out the videos on screen now, as we try to help you live life on your terms. Thanks for watching.